All right, welcome to episode 79 of Adventures in Inbetweening. Today I am looking at a wonderful film from 1984, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, Miyazaki-san's animated film that he directed. Let's take a look. So much to talk about here. So I'll call. I've watched this several times in Japanese, so I'll call Nausicaa how she's pronounced in Japanese, Nausicaa. Look at the silhouette there, matching the boards, so solid. And then boom, the dust is immediately kicked up, all in one frame. There's no easing into this here, and there's no outlines on the dust. I love that. You can see the cast shadow on the ground, showing the distance between the glider and the ground and these spiraling smoke pieces coming out there. Wonderful stuff. It's not the exact thing that was drawn on the boards, but it's the same intention. So the animator decided to, take it a bit further there. So we're panning up here with Nausicaa. We're looking up at the underside of her glider, so she's becoming more dominant over us. She's spinning it around. She's showing how well she can control it. This is early in the film, so it's introducing us to how well she can ride the wind here. Spinning around, just like the storyboards. Look at that. I mean, it's almost exactly the same as the boards. Everything that was planned out there is coming through. Now here on this shot, it's interesting. We're starting out with smoke rather than starting out with the engine, and then we're revealing the engine. This is effective because it's showing us the effect and the impact of the engine and how powerful it is in the glider here. We're panning with Nausicaa. You see when the smoke comes out there, first it comes out very explosion-y as she's close to the ground. You see she's actually hitting the ground a little bit there. She goes off into the distance. And then as the smoke starts to settle and billow, it gets more rounded. And then as she gets far enough off the ground, there's no more smoke that she's creating, no more dust that she's kicking up until the glider is reaching speed and the dust is all flowing back towards us. She gets smaller quickly. Again, all planned in the boards, all 100% there in the beginning. Now we've got the foreground element here, which is the glider. We're going to be moving with the glider. Camera is moving with it. The background is going to be animating past us. Wonderful stuff here. We've got Yupa and the horseclaws here, Kai and Kui. And you can see the clouds are panning up there, just frame by frame by frame. And we're just tracking. We're going around, and once we get rid of the trees there, the background is very simple. We've just got this single line just to show a shadow on the sand dunes here. But it's very effective. It's completely, represents what we need to. So now Nausicaa's coming in here. Glider comes in, more dynamic than the board. She's pulling back on the reins more. We want to have more contrast. As she jumps over it here, the glider's going to stop. She's leaping over. Now you see in the storyboard, her screen left, her true right leg there was leading. But in this case, her true right leg is trailing behind. It's going to catch on the rope that drives the glider. And now she's going to flip the glider over. She's in such a rush that she's tripping over it. And this was something that was added, post storyboards. Breaks free, dynamic pose, and leaning forward, almost falling as she's running forward. It was just saying, okay, the boards are here. Let's take it a little bit further. Let's add some more there. Make sure we're keeping the intention and going further. Now, look at this shot. Look how clear the storyboard is there. The Torumekian guards are running away from the tank here that's been taken over by the villagers. It's, again, all broken down on the board so clearly. Cape's trailing behind there. The guards are backing up and firing. They're scared. Oh, they've lost one of their tanks. They're retreating here. And you can see the blur lines of the tank treads there coming forward. As so the front of the tank is going backwards. The front of the tank is pushing back, so the back of the tank is up off the ground. Boom, hits the wall. Lots of debris. Now the other side lifts up because there's nowhere else for it to go. Look how complex this tank is. I mean, just the amount of drawing, the amount of lines and colors and tones and shadows here that had to be used is just phenomenal. Nobody would even try that in 2D these days. Everyone would use 3D for it. Again, super clear in the storyboards there. Now look at this here. Look what happens with the foreground rocks. This is skipping a scene. So we cut away to the inside of the tank. the old villagers inside the tank are like, oh, go forward, I'm trying. So there's some comedy elements there. Then we cut back, and now the foreground is animatable. Those rocks have been made so we can actually break them apart. Previously, it was just a beautifully painted, finished background. But that's not something we can really animate believably. So now we've got all the detail and all the drawings. So now you can see those front rocks cracking. The tank's starting to come forward there. The back wheels are digging in. So the front is going up off the ground, spinning around, rotating, subtle angle changes. That's forcing the rocks to fall from the bridge even more as it's getting destroyed here. So there's tank treads coming forward. And then look at all this dust. Look at all these pieces of rocks here. The amount of detail, there's just so much to keep track of. When you're drawing and you're flipping these drawings, again, this is all drawn on paper, flipping frame by frame, doing a line, flipping, doing a line. All this dust coming out here, debris, and I love how the dust is all one color, no tone, no outline, and very simple. Now we cut to the wide shot here, and we need to cut to the wide shot because there's so much going on. We have continuity with all these rocks falling. All these cracks are appearing now in the bridge where it needs to, again, this is how a bridge would collapse. It can't collapse if the arch is intact. Look at all the rocks falling. There's 3 different colors of rocks here. There's the regular color, there's the color in shadow, and then there's the sidewalk color, the finished walking surface up top there that's falling. Now here, the tank might not make it. It's starting to fall down. It's almost unbelievable that it's still going. And you can see in the storyboards, tanks continuing, major shapes of rocks falling down here. The tank is falling. More rocks fall from the right side, from the left side. And there's still danger for the tank. Now in the storyboards, the tank made it, pretty safely here. It wasn't all this danger, but because there's these old guys driving the tank trying to figure it out, there's a sense of danger and excitement here, but there's also a comedic element to it because we know that these guys inside the tank are just, whoa, look at this, oh, they're just having a good time. Even these pieces now in the foreground are falling down. Just the groupings there, which are really important for us to be able to follow them, leading our eye. Let's go back and just let's watch a few pieces of rocks fall down. Look how solid this is animated. There's no popping around here. Everything is subtle angle changes of the rocks falling, the rocks breaking from one piece into 2, 3, 4. Look at this big piece here. It's starting to come down, just slow angle change, tumbling forward, tumbling as we go. Oh, so solid. Such a, it's just a master class in how to animate right there. Here now, this is very complex. We have a lot of runs here, a lot of different designs, a lot of different body language types of runs, and all this again. This was drawn on paper and painted on cells. This had to be done on 5 layers total. So layer 1 is the background. We have 4 more layers. All these characters need to be put onto 4 layers, figuring out how they're going to interact, how they're going to overlap. So much work here. The designs had to be simplified because there's a lot of detail on these characters, except when you go from a wide shot like this, there has to be less detail. And there's recognizable characters as well. You can see it's suggested in the boards that there's crowds, but so much work. I could spend, 10 minutes just on that one shot. And then the last shot here, look at the scale of the Omu. Look at these different Omu shells panning across here. Honestly, I don't even understand technically how they did this with only 5 layers because they had to have each shell moving separately from the other shells. There's so much hidden detail there as the shells separate that it would have been, there's no way you could draw that frame by frame and keep it consistent. So now we have the crowd coming through, surrounding Nausicaa in the foreground here. Everybody's coming in, and it's the grouping that's important. I mean, if you look at each individual animation, there might be some poppiness and there might not be super solid. That's not what matters. What matters, look at the hand silhouettes coming up here. It matters the group coming forward. It matters the masses of colors coming in to embrace Nausicaa. Look at that, jumping up in the air there. Just got, just so many things about this video. I mean, that was a very fast 9-10 minutes. If you haven't seen this, I know it's coming out in theaters again in July, I think, in Canada. So check it out if you haven't seen it. And thanks so much for checking out my video. I'll talk to you next time.